pledge to treat each other as we wish to be treated. We pledge to seek understanding when there may be disagreement. Regardless of outcomes or opinions, we pledge to move forward with respect. This is a time for comments as opposed to questions.
Thank you, Alba. So at this point, I'd like to ask if there is anyone in audience who would like to make a statement.
No, you can start loud.
Good evening. My name is Jessica Pearson. I live at 14 Elise Drive in Berwick. You hear me okay? Okay. Can you guys hear?
You can speak up just a little bit more.
Okay.
Thank you.
My best. So I am here tonight with a letter that has been written on behalf of 30 families with students in the MSAD 60 Excel program, and they have all signed this letter. We as citizens, parents, and students of MSAD 60 respectfully insist that the Excel director position be posted as is immediately. This position is a huge undertaking, and leaving it unfilled will damage the district. It is unfair to ask other Excel teachers to absorb any of the Excel director's duties, adding more to their already full plate and setting the program up for failure, which will cause a domino effect across all departments in the schools. Excel teachers offer many activities for all students that may not be available should they have to absorb more duties. These include Mathletes, Battle of the Books, Lego League, robotics, FTC, and much more. Excel benefits all students, more than just the identified ones. We are also very concerned with the Excel cuts of positions and days at the elementary school level. You have assured us that Excel needs can be met in the Flex group setting. However, Flex is currently only a reading program. Students attend Excel offerings beyond reading. Our classroom teachers are stretched so thin. They do their best to differentiate curriculum and deliver quality instruction, all while managing increasingly difficult student behaviors. Just as special education requires specific training and certification, gifted and talented does too. To reduce specialized instruction for our Excel students would be setting our classroom teachers up for failure. The reality is that our classroom teachers are already utterly taxed with all they currently have on their plates. We find this proposed solution unacceptable and detrimental to the teachers and students. Equity is critical in any school system, and the MSAD 60 Excel program is a diverse one that reaches all demographics and socioeconomics. To cut it further violates everything we know to be best practice regarding diversity, equity, and inclusion. Although some families may decide to homeschool their children due to these Excel budget cuts, and some may even have the opportunity to go to a private school if their Excel needs are not met, please remember that many families do not have those options. We desperately need MSAD 60 to provide best Excel practices for their education. Excel needs are special needs too. Please remember that the Excel program is a student-centered, safe space for neurodivergent students who don't typically fit into the traditional school population. We've seen a dramatic decrease in Excel services over the last 2 years, and services continue to dwindle. With a program that receives reimbursement from the state, allows children to thrive, and significantly benefits MSAD 60 and its test scores, why would we continue to cut our Excel budget? This is free money that we are throwing away, and we find that unacceptable. Until now, our children have thrived because of the Excel program and its incredible certified and trained teachers. Our children come home from school confident, curious, proud, and happy because of the Excel program. To potentially deprive our students of these experiences is negligence.
Excuse me, we're past our 3 minutes.
Thank you.
Thank you. We'd be very happy to take a copy of that.
Yeah, I would love a copy so I can put it into the. Can you have it for like 15 minutes?
Yeah, would you like an email?
Yeah, we perfect. And I can put it right.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you very much.
I'm Jeremy Caston, Berwick. I'm just finishing the last of that letter.
Smart people, I love it. Okay.
Please post the Excel director's position as is immediately. Please do not ask any more of our
Already taxed classroom teachers who will have even larger classroom sizes next year and already have a difficult time managing a multitude of behaviors every day. Please do not
ask teachers and staff to absorb the Excel director's duties as their plates are already full, and we will see a domino effect across all departments in our schools. Please stop cutting a program that is the reason why many families, including mine, have moved to and placed their children in this school district. Please stop cutting a program that has always been the gold standard of best practices for Excel and has brought MSA 8060 so much pride. Again, we appreciate the opportunity to express our concerns. Thank you very much for your time, and it is signed by 30 families. Thank you again.
Thank you very much.
My name is Anna Dupuy. I live in Berwick.
Could you speak up a little bit, please?
My name is Anna Dupuy. I live in Berwick. Good evening. I am a seventh grade student from Noble Middle School. At our middle school, I attend ELA, math, and creative writing Excel classes. So when I first heard about this decision to cut funding from the Excel program, I was truly taken aback. Before entering the school system in fourth grade, I attended a private school that did not have an Excel program. I felt bored and under-challenged, incisive about the next thing that I could learn. When I joined this district, I felt alone and under-challenged. That was until I joined the Excel program. While in the Excel program, I have had the opportunity to learn and thrive with amazing teachers in an environment that accepts all and allows us to be ourselves. Not only is the Excel program helping our students grow and be challenged, but it's also a safe place for students to be themselves. So my question is, why would you change something that is wildly successful for students from kindergarten through 12th grade? Most students in our Excel program learn best face-to-face. So limiting the time that we have with our accelerated teachers will lower our grades. Our school relies on our grades to boost our school's overall scores. So this would have a detrimental effect on our school's reputation. Also, our school's robotics and esports teams both rely on our amazing Excel teacher, Ms. Bowie. So the funding cuts will also affect these programs. I may only be 13 years old, but I'm going to do whatever it takes to stand up and fight for what our Excel program needs. Thank you all very much for your time.
Thank you for your input.
Hi, I'm Ella Dupuy and I live in Berwick. I am a fifth grader at Knowlton School, and my opinion is that all schools should have an Excel program like Noble schools do, and we should not change it. Excel is for all the kids who need more than they can get in their regular classrooms. They meet in groups once or twice a week outside their normal classroom to learn about more challenging things than our regular classroom is able to learn. It is so important for students like me to be able to leave our regular classroom and go to meet with my Excel group outside of my regular classroom. If we don't have a room that we can go to learn more challenging things together with other kids like ourselves and our Excel teachers, then we would be forced to stay in our regular classrooms to learn about things we have already learned about. Just sitting in that room with other kids who don't really want to challenge themselves and would be learning nothing. So if we're not learning anything and we're not challenged and we're always bored, what is the purpose of going to school? Also, if you're in a high-level classroom for flex grouping, which I am, and you're trying to learn Excel things, you can't learn anything because there are kids always talking and misbehaving. I know this for a fact because I personally experienced this while Mr. Hagan was trying to schedule me into an Excel program. I was asked to start my material in my flex group, and my teacher was supposed to be able to help me if I had any questions. But my teacher was busy helping other kids, and I was distracted by the kids who were misbehaving. So the kids that need to work on Excel things, they really need to be able to work in a calm environment where they're a group of Excel kids who are all learning the same things. I love my classroom teacher and I love my Excel teacher, but my Excel friends and I look forward to Excel every week because every day we go to school, there is at least one child misbehaving. So now our classroom teacher has to waste everybody else's time to learn because of those kids who can't stop talking or misbehaving. But this never happens in Excel. Instead, we're all calm and getting our work done, which unfortunately we just can't have in our normal classroom. So that is why I think we should not change our Excel program. Thank you.
My name is Emily Herrick and I live in Berwick. I'm a seventh grader who's almost an eighth grader at Noble Middle School. And I'd like to talk about eighth grade Excel and humanities. in the district. First, let me tell you about what it means for me and how it's helped me and many other people. This year, ELA Excel has been my home base. It has been for many other people. I go there for lunch and square time most times, and ELA Excel class has also been our homeroom. Whenever we had a weird schedule, our teacher, Miss Bowie, would tell us the schedule and make sure we knew where we were going. She'd also let us go down to her room at any point of the day if we needed to. ELA Excel is also a safe environment with people who will not judge no matter what. It is a class where we feel safe to express ourselves and discover who we are, both academically and non-academically. It has helped me discover my passion for mathematics and engineering, even though it was an ELA class. Ms. Bowie is willing to help us with any subject that might be challenging for us. This year was my first year back in school since COVID-19. Ms. Bowie, as well as most of the people in my class, were willing to help me find my way around the school and help me with the schedule. Excel allowed me to be myself with people who understand me. The Excel program also helped me in elementary school by pushing me in my reading skills. The 8th grade humanities class used to be taught by Ms. Hunter, but she resigned. She was also the Excel coordinator for the district. Neither humanities teacher position nor the Excel coordinator position have been put up for hire. Without a humanities teacher next year, my class will probably be split up in classes that don't challenge our ELA ability nor neurodiversity. What this means for me is I won't be with people who understand me, and I won't be challenged. Most people think Excel is just doing fun things with no work. That being said, most people wouldn't think it's important for us to have a teacher, and it would mean nothing for us to be putting normal ELA classes. This has affected many things with the ELA Excel students' lives. We lose our home base, we aren't challenged, and we can't stick together to things like bullying, which many of us had to deal with this year. Most often due to our ELA ability. I would like to say that the position for humanities and Excel coordinator should be posted for hire and should be cut. Thank you so much.
Notice that you all have prepared notes. If you have them as an email, if you please send them to Ms. Austin. We'd appreciate that. If you don't, if you could leave a hard copy with us, we'd appreciate that as well. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Ella Morgan, and I graduated Noble High School's 2023 class as our salutatorian. I'm here to speak towards the cuts to the Excel program. I was identified for Excel in 5th grade, and it made a drastic impact on my learning experience. One of my strongest memories was from 1st grade of elementary school, was from 1st grade. And I remember my classroom teacher sitting us all down on the rug, and she was sitting there and she had a board with sticker charts. And each time we filled up our sticker charts, we got to go and take a prize out of the prize box. And today's activity was answering questions. And for every question that you could answer right, you got a sticker. And I was so proud of myself. I was so excited. I knew every single answer to every question the teacher asked. And I raised my hand every single time. And the teacher asked me if I could please put my hand down and stop raising my hand to give the other students a chance to answer. And as a 6-year-old, this was devastating. I was so proud of the work that I had accomplished and of the information that I knew. And to be told not to speak, to be asked not to share that was crushing. When I started Excel, I started a couple years before I was officially identified with Ms. Sahagian, and it offers fun lessons, it offers engaging lessons, and it gives you something to think about and to take back to the classroom for those times when you've finished the lesson long before the rest of your class has, and you've been asked to sit quietly and asked to not interrupt your classmates as they learn. Excel is essential to me and so many other students, and it's so much more than just fun lessons. It's a community that offers support, it offers resources, and it gives advocates for kids, especially young kids who can't access these things alone. As a middle schooler, as a high schooler, we have the resources, we have more resources, I should say. We can email more teachers, we can be part of more programs, but as an elementary student, you're not given any of that. And your only option is, for me at least, was my Excel director, was Ms. Sahagian. And I have testimonies here from 5 other former Excel students, or graduated Excel students, I should say, and current Excel students. And I'd like to read a couple of them. First is Bryce Collins, who also graduated with me in 2023. was a good friend who I met in early elementary Excel. And he says, I learned a lot of things early that helped me get into higher level classes, which got me to where I am now. However, I think that the most important thing wasn't the actual information, but that the teachers encouraged surpassing expectations instead of simply meeting them. I felt like hard work really meant something instead of feeling like I had to get through the year. I definitely think that influenced the way I feel about school, and it will probably stick with me in college as well. I also learned how to work with others and made some awesome friends that I still value today. I really would love for future students to be able to enjoy education the way I did.
Excuse me, we've exceeded our time. If you'd like to come back and continue, we'll have another public input at the end of this.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
My name is Tiffany Mariscal. I'm the 8th grader and I live at 23 Locust Street.
Can you speak louder, please?
These are the words of my 11-year-old brother who participates in Excel at Norton Elementary. I love it. It's my safe haven. I'd want to be homeschooled again if I could not be in Excel. I am and would be overlooked in the regular classroom. In Excel, we push each other and support each other. In a regular classroom, I get less attention because I do the material and I'm well behaved. I wish I was in Excel last year. When I'm in Excel, I'm finally around other kids who get me. I could be me in Excel, not in a regular classroom. I was a closed box, and Mr. Hagen opened me up. After my little brother went to Excel, I noticed a change in him. He's excited to go to school and seemed to be in a better mood at the end of the day. I believe that the Excel program is important for kids like him who value education and learning. Thank you.
My name is Stephen Schaefer. I'm a resident of North Berwick. I'd like to read a letter from my daughter Helena, who graduated in 2014. When I began my time at Noble High School, I was in a bad place. I'd spent the summer recovering from a major surgery, the latest in a long line of medical issues. Now I was in an unfamiliar school surrounded by strangers. My classes didn't challenge me, and it felt like every day was the same busy work over and over. Within months, I was suicidal. I'd started school in MSED 60, but left the district halfway through second grade because I came home and told my parents that I hated reading. At home, I was reading chapter books, but at school every day, our reading time was half an hour of reading the same picture book over and over again until the overworked teacher could get around to listen to you read it out loud. Then you would move on to the next picture book and the cycle would repeat. The only good thing was the 1 hour of Excel I had every week or so, and it wasn't anywhere near enough. So at Noble, I felt like I was back in that loop, spending every day staring blankly at things I'd already memorized until finally had the chance to prove that I was ready to take a half step forward. I couldn't face 4 years of that. I genuinely believe that Adina Hunter saved my life. She went above and beyond for me, gave me a place where I could decompress and find people I actually connected with. She worked with me one-on-one, found ways to keep me challenged and engaged. In my other classes, I was often forced to become a sort of unofficial teacher's assistant, something I wasn't prepared for and which didn't teach me new material. In the Excel classroom, I could come up with independent study programs and talk about things that actually interested me without being shut down by the people who were supposed to help me learn. I graduated Noble in 3 years, and Mrs. Hunter was instrumental in that. She was patient, kind, and constantly fearlessly devoted to helping her students be themselves. Today, I work with middle schoolers in Rhode Island, and one of the hardest parts of the job is seeing how many of the things that helped me stay alive, art classes, creative writing, gifted and talented programs, have been stripped away from their school experiences. By cutting these programs here, you are actively sabotaging your students, and not just academically. The Excel program saved my life, and I know I'm not the only one. Think long and hard about what would happen if you took that away. Thank you.
I'm Rita Schaefer, Lena Schaefer. So
I'm not going to repeat anything that she said in her letter. I am a resident of North Berwick, past board member and past board chair. So I'm going to also speak today about the Excel, not only in saving what there is, but I know this is ridiculous in these budgetary times, expanding it. Since my daughter made her own case for the importance of the program, I'll not rehash, but I'd like to point out that the Excel program caters to special needs students just as much as programs targeting students with learning issues do. They're simply at the other end of that spectrum. The kids in Excel are special needs. They must have accommodation too in order to succeed. And that means that that means more than the current tiered system in the general classrooms. Just like athletic teams, they require the energy and resources of dedicated mentors and the community of other students who leap and bound through material just as they do, who get their weird academic jokes, and who support and push each other to ever higher achievement. They require consistent, advanced coursework and intensive academic goals in order to benefit from the classroom. Being turned into teaching assistants in general classes does not serve their needs. That is, using them, not helping them reach higher. Just having a harder assignment or two in a general class isn't enough either. From the earliest grades on, these students need the Excel program and the community it creates for them to be an integral part of their MS-80 60 academic lives so that they can thrive. And when they thrive, the district thrives too. And I'd like to remind you of something another student said to this board some 10 years ago, when then Governor LePage was requiring already spent state education funds to be returned to Augusta, and the Excel program was on the chopping block at that time. Some of you may remember the crowd that came out in support of the program back then. One of the many speakers was a young man about to graduate and enter an Ivy League institution, and he put it very clearly. MSA 60 needs its Excel students to boost the overall scores of the district, but the Excel students do not necessarily need MSAD 60. If our gifted and talented students do not get the support Excel provides, they will leave. I know this. The rumbles are already out there in the community, and it's what my family chose to do in 1999 for the well-being of our child. She went from excited about learning to being desperate to avoid school by November of second grade. 1 hour of Excel every week or two, I don't remember now, was nowhere enough. It wasn't acceptable. You risk either turning students into bored academic sleepwalkers disassociated from school, failing their potential, or you risk losing them from the district altogether as they seek more rigorous schools elsewhere. We took a chance with the district again for high school precisely because of the existence of Excel as a more significant part of her schedule. If our daughter were entering high school today, I'm not so sure we would make the same call. Protect Excel, protect the students you have sworn to serve as members of this board. Thank you.
You had mentioned that this is going to be 21 minutes before I start speaking. I'm asking a question like, how close are we to that? Because I have 3 minutes here.
No problem. We're past it, but let's hear everybody.
I appreciate that.
I have signed a communal letter that respectfully demands the Excel director position be posted immediately as is. I'm sending an email to the school board and superintendents with great detail as to why our budget cuts to our Excel program hurt not just my children's education, but our schools and teachers. So because I only have 3 minutes to speak tonight, I'd like to add a different perspective. As we know, the Excel program is mandated and reimbursed by the state. However, the state also says that it is ultimately the discretion of the superintendent to determine what the needs of the Excel program are. So Audra, since the buck stops with you, I have serious concerns. I have been the Berwick PTO president for 2 years. I started the Muddy Mile and have organized many fundraisers, community events, and have raised Berwick Elementary Schools almost $100,000. I am in the halls of our elementary schools almost every day because of all that we do, to the point our principals have jokingly said I should be on the payroll. These same principals show up to every single event and are literally kissing pigs for your school. I love MSAD 60.
Respectfully though, in the 2 years I have been the Berwick PTO president,
I have never seen you at any of our events, not one.
nor have I ever seen you in the halls of either of the elementary schools,
It's utterly disheartening to me.
especially since one of those schools was your school when you were principal. How can you advocate for a school district, let alone an Excel program, if you do not set foot in your schools, attend events, or know your teachers? If it's true that you are considering delegating some of the Excel director's responsibilities to the other Excel teachers who already have full plates, or asking our already taxed classroom teachers to differentiate more in their classrooms with even bigger classroom sizes next year, or that you can meet some of the Excel students' needs in the flex group setting, which with all due respect will be impossible, and I speak from personal experience with my own daughter.
Excuse me, I think we're getting a little too personal here.
I'm almost done.
No, I think you are done. If you would like.
I'm a taxpayer. I'd like to finish, and I'm not attacking her. I'm saying this with all respect. It's clear to me that I feel there's a huge disconnect between administration and what may be occurring in our schools. Please do not set your teachers, students, and schools up for failure with the domino effect that will occur. On paper, these considerations may look good, but in reality, they're unrealistic if you're truly trying to use best practices. And respectfully, I believe you would know that if you all were more present in our schools and our community. When families know about an Excel meeting that you have scheduled in July before the Excel team does, it is also clear to me that there's a lack of collaboration with you and the Excel team as well. They should have been notified first. So in closing, a great deal has changed since you were in the elementary schools as principal. The behaviors, as I'm sure
I'm
you've
gonna have
heard,
to ask you one more time. You're over limit, and this is very direct at one of our personnel.
this is to everybody. Since COVID has increased and are extraordinarily disruptive,
I'm
so I
gonna have
think
to
it's
ask you
unfair
to
to ask
leave.
more of the teachers when you are already have an Excel director position that has already been approved in the budget. Thank you for your time.
Good evening, board members. My name is Kate Mariscal. I live in Berwick. I have 4 children in the district. I would like to read you the noble mission statement. We empower all students to develop enthusiasm for learning, foster confidence through successes and failures, provide service to others, and achieve their personal, social, and academic best, leading to fulfilling and engaged lives for all. Wow, that's a powerful mission statement. And as a parent and community member, I am blown away by the gravity of this statement. But I want to point out a few key words: all students, personal best, and academic best. By decreasing the amount of hours Excel educators are in the classrooms and directly engaging with students, we are not providing appropriate education to an entire population of our communities. And in order to do our due diligence that is spelled out in our mission statement, we must provide services for all students at the level of their need, whether that level is above or below academic standards. I realize that the entire Excel program will not be changing at this time, but it is imperative to engage and challenge students as early as we can. Personally, I have seen what the lack of early intervention can do to a child. We're originally from Ohio, and while there, the talented and gifted program in elementary school was extremely lacking. We were told that our eldest child would be part of the program, but since he didn't have the highest scores in the classroom, he would have to wait. Until 6th grade, he did not receive extra services, leaving him bored, inattentive, and disengaged. When he finally got the chance to participate in tag, he quickly became overwhelmed and burnt out. He had never had to work for it before. He had never been challenged. And then all of a sudden, he was treading water from the start, and it was tearing him down. Every day he came home in tears because he couldn't catch up. Brain-wise, he could. He was smart enough. But keeping up with all the other challenges, all the extra homework, it was too much because he didn't know how to do it all of a sudden, all at once. My son isn't the only one who has been down this path. In fact, we've heard similar stories from friends and family with neurodivergent children. And in all honesty, I fear the same challenges will happen with our youngest child if the K-2 program is changed. When we first heard of Berwick and came and got to know the community, we heard how amazing the school system is. We love Berwick and we love MSAD 60. We need Excel educators in the classroom to provide intervention as soon as possible. We need to reach kids when they are young, open, and fresh. We need their expertise of the Excel educators on and hands. We need an Excel director who has a seat at the table so that even more is not lost from this program.
Excuse me, we're past your 3 minutes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Can I have? Can I ask at this time how many people will be speaking? Okay, thank you. Hello, what's your name? Can you tell us your name, please?
Iris Jewison,
And where do you live?
North Berwick.
And what do you
Excel can be very useful for kids who need more of a challenge. And it helps you get more of a challenge that you can't get in your own classroom.
Thank you.
Hello, I'm Brenda O'Connor.
I am a lifelong Lebanon resident. I am
I'm an alumni from Noble, proudly. My daughter attends middle school here now.
I was part of the Excel program while I was here.
Believe in it. I watch my daughter flourish now in the program, and I just want to thank you guys for listening to all of us here. It's amazing to see all these families here. It truly is.
And we believe in this district and we believe that you guys will do the right thing. We just really want to see
The director position filled again and just take this program to the next level. So just wanted to truly say thank you and just know that you'll do the right thing.
Once again, I do want to thank all of you who stepped up and shared your opinions with us. Do not take your input lightly. It carries great gravity. And so thank you very much for being here tonight. We're going to move on to recognizing 2 of our board members who have faithfully served on this board for a number of years. So we'll start with Denise. Denise.
Here you go. And 2017 to 2023, so all of your service. And I know the last couple of years, especially with COVID, we're talking shared through all of that. Awesome. Yes. Thank you.
You've had chair one of the worst years too.
Yeah.
Yeah. I learned a lot.
Well, Stephanie, your plaque is tumbling, but thank you very much for all you've done over the last couple of years. We really appreciate it.
Thank you both. You will be missed. Your input has been valuable. We appreciate the time you take to consider all the issues and your thoughtfulness in any deliberations that we have. So, go forth, come back, and look forward to getting back to you right now.
And thank you, everybody, for great discussions. It's been very eye-opening and a great experience with everybody.
But I will just say that as a board, I've appreciated, this has changed a lot since I joined. And I've always appreciated the range of opinions and the fact that the culture of this board has come together in any kind. And then for anybody who's listening, it really does help to show up. So we spend a lot of time in this room empty, and so voices are appreciated.
And I'd also like to take an opportunity to introduce our two new board members who will be joining us for fiscal year 23-24. If you could stand up, Jerry Basco from Lebanon and Joshua Taylor from North Berwick. We would like to thank you for stepping up and volunteering to be part of the board, and we look forward to working with you come year.
Thank you. You do the same.
Okay, now we're going to take a look at the minutes of June 1st. Everything that, okay.
So then we're going to classification budget.
Okay.
All right. So what I need to do now, we have a couple of things to do for the ratification of the budget. And one of those things would be the numbers, how the budget book went through. And then there's a couple of documents to sign. If you want to just transition out while we go through the rest of the business.
Thank you again for your input. Thank you.
So.
Sorry, I couldn't hear what Audra said.
I didn't give permission for people.
I just said, well, wait,
if they wanted to.
Yes.
Because now we're going to work on the rest of the board agenda. Oh.
Thank you.
All right, so this is the ratification of the budget vote. So the town of Berwick had 291 affirmative and 142 negative. The town of Lebanon was 536 affirmative, 368 negative. The town of North Berwick was 148 affirmative, 60 negative. So the total vote of affirmative vote was 975 and the negative vote was 570. So I just
Sorry,
need
what was the total affirmative?
975. So we just need a formal, this is what needs to just be read. So I'm gonna hand it over. If somebody could read that, we just need the motion to accept. I don't think you can do that.
The superintendent can hear the ratification of the vote of the referendum.
No, just, we can do 23, 24.
23, 24, made a motion and it was seconded by.
Point of order. I call for orders of the day.
Excuse me. This is a board process right now, and don't have.
You just skipped an agenda item, which is technically illegal. You would need a 2/3 vote of the membership to change the agenda.
So let's finish this.
And second, to submit the computation and declaration of vote.
All those in favor?
I'm sorry.
Yeah, I just need to confirm. It's hard to hear you guys. You're voting on the budget process right now, right?
The ratification of the vote. Yep.
Yes, I support.
Thank you. Motion is passed. So would someone on the board like to make a motion to pass on item number 4, given the time? We can move that approval of minutes to the next meeting.
Is that motion?
I'll second. All those in favor?
Yes.
Thank you. The motion is passed.
Okay, and then now we need to move on to the warrants themselves. Travis, can you hear?
Yeah, I can hear you. It was whoever was doing that motion. I could barely hear.
Okay. All right, so we will do the, as I said, this is the warrants. So this is the motion and I will read it. And then somebody else can read it as well. So I move that the warrant for assessment of tax and the assessment schedule and notice of installments for each member municipality prepared by the treasurer for fiscal year July 1st, 23 to June 30th, 24 be approved and be issued in form presented to this meeting, and that the treasurer be authorized and directed to deliver to each member municipality its warrant for the assessment of tax and its assessment schedule and notice of installments. So that is the motion. So I read it out loud so everybody could hear that. I know, volume is an issue in here. So if somebody on the board can do this as well. It's just the highlight, yes, thanks.
I move that the warrant for assessment of tax and assessment schedule and notice of installments for each member municipality prepared by the treasurer for fiscal year July 1st, 2023 to June 30th, 2024 be approved and be issued in form presented to this meeting, and that the treasurer be authorized and directed to deliver to each member municipality its warrant for assessment of tax and its assessment schedule and notice of installments. That's not a run-on sentence.
Attorneys, that's the way they run it.
I know. Do we have a second on that motion? Lovejoy? Okay. All those in favor?
Yes.
And the motion is passed.
Thank you. This. Okay. I think Denise is here to do the next portion of the financial summary.
We're talking about number 5 and you're moving it to the agenda.
I'm sorry.
Oh, just kidding. Okay, yeah, that's the one. Oh, Jenna, sorry, I think.
Yeah, Commissioner.
There's.
Good evening.
You should have received electronically the monthly financial summary for the month of May. And I'm here to address any questions you might have about that summary.
Any members of the board have a chance to look at that? And do you have any questions for Denise?
Question, it appears that it's in keeping with previous months, like.
Correct. The one overage again in that line is a switch between categories. Okay. I'm available for questions. Just take up price.
Thank you, Denise. Our next agenda item is adult education, criminal history record checks and fingerprinting. That's me. Okay.
All right, so we met yesterday with, so Audra and I met with a few members of the adult ed crew, the director, the assistant, and a couple of our instructors. And basically what we did was we hammered out sort of a proposal for, let's see, listen to me. A proposal for allowing reimbursement for our instructors who are doing the enrichment piece of our adult ed program so that it is less of a strain on them, because some of them are only doing one or, a couple of small group classes. So what we did was, and I'll just outline it. So currently the academic instructors at Noble Adults and Community Education are required to be fingerprinted, just like the process with everybody else in the MSAD 60 world. And so they go through it that with the human resource department, hear it that way. Once it was noted that all of our enrichment instructors were not fingerprinted, we determined that it was probably best for us to follow the same process that we do for the rest of our folks that work under the MSAD 60, financial support. And so what we did was, we understand that it's a unique situation, that many of our one-time instructors or small business folks are in here, so we'd like to figure out how to support that. And what we decided on is we will reimburse our instructors for their fingerprinting after their class is completed. And the funding will come from the revenue generated by the class. So it's not something, and if so it will not it should not impact their finances. It will only impact our finances, and hopefully it won't be a big deterrent. The HR department will take over the oversight of the fingerprinting piece of it so that it's not it's a little more uniform across the board. And the only difference is that we may allow exceptions to the requirement of the fingerprinting being done so if you are getting certified for teaching or for actually pretty much your CHRC, your criminal history records check for any staff position in the district, it needs to go through the state of Maine fingerprinting piece. But we did determine that we could potentially provide waivers for if you live in New Hampshire, reside in New Hampshire, and you are teaching here at Noble, which we're a border state, so that happens, that we would allow the fingerprints to be utilized. So as long as it was taken care of. And then in terms of the concerns regarding other staff and sort of opening a door and setting a precedent, we determined that it should not actually impact the rest of our staff because this is so unique in terms of how our instructors, our enrichment instructors are working with us, that we felt like we can easily make a case to not have that be precedent setting, if you call that. So what I'm bringing back to you is basically, there's two things that can happen tonight. One is that it's just, we have set the procedure and you're okay with that and we move forward. Or you can choose to do a vote and not to waive the fingerprinting for our enrichment folks. So does that make sense? Yes.
That's a good question.
Sure.
So enrichment versus academic, I think I understand, but the enrichment is like okay.
There's a lot of really cool classes that are not taught specifically for the
Roughly,
academic.
how many people are we talking about?
Kelly, how many people you got?
Like, how many instructors do we have?
Yeah, for the enrichment.
Ballpark. Yeah.
I really don't know. I mean, if I had to guess, I'd say we probably have I really don't know, 30.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not,
right.
Yeah, we have a lot of instructors that teach. Some will teach multiple classes, some will teach one class, some will come back one semester, they don't come back the next semester.
So basically, it's a zero net on our annual budget. It's self-funded through the adult ed program tuition.
Right. So that keeps us in accordance with that policy.
Right.
I have a question, and this doesn't change this at all. So they're fingerprinted, that triggers the background check. Do you pay separately for the background check or?
So we do the background check through here. The fingerprinting is done through that piece of it, and then we run the CHRCs ourselves through the office.
And as long as they stay employed, they only have to do the fingerprinting once.
So it's a 5-year window of time, and if you're consistently employed beyond that,
right, then
they so I was fingerprinted a really long time ago. And they run your CHRC occasionally, but you don't have to re-fingerprint.
Okay.
As long as you're consistently employed through the district.
I asked earlier to get a copy of the names. Do we have to get those?
I will get it for you. It's right.
So we could look at it, so that we could look at it to make sure that we understand that.
Sure.
You gave us the link to the state department.
Yeah.
Is it in there?
I was having trouble getting to the most frequent one, so I called the office earlier today.
No, it's been a little bit, it's been a lot. No, understood. So I can pull them up, and I can get the print.
Thank you.
You might be so want to see that.
out.
I'm sorry.
No, I was just gonna say, we have the link right here if you want me to send it out.
Not going
The statute, the actual.
You're right.
Go ahead and send it and I'll print it. Okay. I'm just gonna let her do the look. She did the look and I'm happy. Thanks.
Given that, I'm sorry, Thomas is off. Given that you want to see that before We'll vote. Is that correct? We want to table this for tonight and move the discussion to our July meeting.
We can do that.
So there doesn't need to be a vote if you're okay with just like going forward. It would be the vote if you chose to not follow that.
They wanted to have some conclusions sooner rather than later to be able to tell people, right? To get
For
their
sure. I think we've got a plan going forward regardless right now. So.
I like that it would be consistent with, what we do for the high school and the self-funding. I see it as only being good.
So we don't have to take any action. If we're good with this.
This does everything the state of Maine requires us to do.
Yes.
Can I still get that copy?
Yeah. Absolutely. Yep.
Can we put it into action now and then we'll revisit it in July after I have to do that?
Sure. Yes.
Is that possible?
Everything can be looked at.
Yes.
Right.
I'll put a note on that.
So
Yes.
I just asked Shelby, she said we actually have 23 instructors for our brochure for this current brochure that's supposed to go to print.
Thank you. Appreciate that. All right.
Okay, our next order on the agenda is approving the assistant superintendent contract.
Okay.
So all these need a motion and a second and a vote.
I make a motion to accept the assistant superintendent contract. A second.
I have a question. Do we have to put an amount in there or
No,
anything?
you just accept the contract.
Contract.
Okay, the motion has been made and seconded. All those in favor of accepting the assistant superintendent contract as written? All those opposed?
Travis, were you, oh,
No,
no,
it's
it's
all-
not.
We know
Not
that
the
the
17.
No.
And the motion is passed. Our next order is a business manager contract.
I make a motion to accept the business manager contract. As written.
We just did this.
Yes.
All those in favor? All those opposed? And the motion is passed. And agenda item 10 is our superintendent contract approval.
I make a motion to accept the superintendent contract. I was on a roll, sorry.
I'll second. All those in favor? All those opposed? And the motion is passed.
All right, so we are nominating this evening two administrative positions. One is the assistant principal for the Knowlton School. The other is the nomination for principal for Noble Middle School. We'll start with the Knowlton School. Currently, Elise Galusha is acting as interim assistant principal. She has been in that position since last summer. We hired her over the summer. Because it was an interim position, we posted it. And they went through an interview process at Knowlton School, and they are nominating Elise Galusha for the part-time Knowlton School assistant principal position for the fall. So we do need a motion, a second, and a vote.
I'll make that motion. For Alicia.
Second.
All those in favor of the nomination of Alicia Galusha? And the motion is passed.
The next nomination is for the Noble Middle School principal. We are bringing forward Mike Archambault, principal of Noble North Berwick Elementary School, the next principal for Noble Middle School. So we would need a motion and a second for that. I'll make a motion for Mike Archambault.
All those in favor? All those opposed? And the motion is passed.
Okay, So then we have, under new hires for employment, we have Natalie Batfelder, for Huzzy School, grade 1. She's a recent graduate as of last year, worked on student teaching in Somersworth, so we are nominating her for Huzzy School. So we need a motion and a second.
What's the difference from saying that I told her that? Okay. I'll make a nomination. Robert Batchelder would have been Hussey, grade 1 teacher.
I'll second. All those in favor? And the motion is passed.
Okay, we have 2 resignations. Amanda Anicelli, who is currently first grade at Huzzy School. She will be going to Elliott Elementary. So we need a motion and a second for that.
I'll make the motion.
I'll second it. All those in favor of accepting the resignation of Amanda Anicelli? The motion is passed.
Okay, and we have the last one is Nicole Harvey. She's also currently first grade at Huzzy School. She's also going to Elliott Elementary.
And make a motion to accept Nicole Harvey's resignation.
Awesome. All those in favor? And the motion is passed. So our next item is summer hires.
So typically this time of the year, the board allows the central office to offer contracts because we don't have routine summer meetings. So offer contracts to teaching candidates so that we don't lose candidates by the time we meet. So we just need a motion for that to happen. What we will do is we do have some hiring to be left to do. What we will do is bring that up in July and go through each candidate and as well. Don't want to lose candidates. So that's historically how we process. It's an administrative hire. There is a meeting and that we have. We don't have authority to do that. That's a board. And that we will meet.
We need to make a motion to allow you to make this in the hire. So I'll make a motion to allow the central office, authorize you to make the hires over the summer.
All those in favor? And motion's passed. Now we're going to do our superintendent update.
Okay, just a few things. The first one is that graduation last week was great. We did have it indoors. We weren't sure, we weren't sure about the weather, but we ended up calling it inside and it worked out fine. It didn't rain outside, but everything went well inside. We did have a backflip. That was the excitement of the getting off stage. Somebody super well.
Intentional?
Yes, it was intentional. But very well organized. Students did a really nice job. They practiced really hard for the whole week and marching went really well because that's always a thing. And so it was just great. We just talked a little bit about hiring, but we do still have some key positions to hire. We have about 13 educational technicians that we are still looking for. So we will continue to bump those up to the top of the refresh list on School Spring. Once a week, we bump those up. So we've got in special education classrooms, type 1, for literacy, for math. So as I said, those are positions that we're really looking at. And then I was going to just announce our board members. So we've already done 2, but we also have Peg Wheeler joining us from Berwick. So that's the superintendent.
Thank you. So at this point, does anyone on the board have any other topics?
On sort of the topic of what we've heard people talking about tonight, I just want to kind of have 2 observations. One is not in my role as a board. I'm right there with them. I went through many years of the Excel program. It's amazing. It is everything that everybody said. I can say this because this is my last board meeting, but for people that are not in favor of funding school budget, this is a very good example of what happens. So the Excel program is a tiny group of people, but it is a critically important group. And it is, whoever made the point that it is special ed, it is special ed. And they didn't use the term neuro whatever when my kids were in it, but that is what the word we should have been using. So I do want to just say that this is just kind of, I'm saying this to people that are not in favor of funding the school budget. So that's kind of my personal piece. The flip side of that is that I feel like I heard a lot of misinformation. So I think that we have some clarification because I think the impact is hopefully will be negligible, but it's quite small. And it is, I feel like I've heard people with wrong information as far as what the cuts actually impacted. And so I think maybe it sounds like there's a meeting in July, but hopefully that'll all get cleared up. But hopefully people will be less concerned because I think if I understood it correctly, we're in better shape than I think what we heard there. Yes. But I appreciate people speaking up because it's what happened. These are real kids whose opportunities are getting cut. So just maybe not as much as I think everyone thinks they are. That's my other.
Okay. This is more probably to look into. I don't expect you to have an answer right now. About lunches for kids who are program-wise remote, not like a remote day from everyone, but like kids or whatnot. And school lunch, and if there is potential for them to be able to like pick it up in the morning, or if it has to be eaten at school if it's school lunch. Kind of a question asked.
So,
Are you talking about the flex or the?
Yeah.
I was just gonna ask a clarifying question. Is it for days that they are
That
on
it's
campus?
Not on campus. Yeah. PBIS is being implemented next year. Is that district, like across the district, across certain grade levels?
It's currently implemented in Lebanon and Knowlton School, and next year it's going to be implemented at Hussey School and North Berwick Elementary School. We have the bar program for 6-12, but we'll certainly look at how that PBIS complements the bar.
Okay. Is there any opportunity for board members to attend the PBIS trainings?
We can check that.
Okay. And then, okay, this stuff here, I think. We're good.
That's all we do.
I know, I addressed the therapy.
Okay.
Sorry.
Anything else that folks would like to discuss?
And our next meeting is July 17th. July 18th. But we do need to check with Jerry, Josh, and Peg to make sure that time works for them.
And that was like an early in the day start.
It's
right?
early,
2 o'clock
it's like a
start or
12
something.
o'clock start.
It's a workshop.
It's a workshop,
It's a
right?
workshop, and then we have a regular meeting at 7 o'clock.
Yeah, it doesn't really matter what day, because I have to take time off.
Okay, so, in terms of folks in the audience, is there anyone else who would like to speak on behalf of their issues? We need to go into an executive session at this point.
I think Ella wants to say something.
Oh,
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
She snuck up there. It's okay.
So, and
You're okay.
congratulations on being the, I know, thank you, I never say it right.
Thank you. Yes. In the interest of time, I'll just read one more. But Colin McAvoy from the class of 2026, he's a rising sophomore right now. And he says, and I think this really summarizes the experience of students in Excel. He says, I was really bored in the classroom and causing some problems, and I wasn't learning much or enjoying school. But then I got placed in Excel, and to this day, it might be my favorite class I've ever been in. It allowed me to learn in an unconventional way, at my own pace, and to meet like-minded friends with this really cool environment, and without it, I don't think I would have liked school nearly as much. And there are still things I learned from Excel in elementary school that my friends in high school don't know, and I think it's a great program and that it did a lot for me. Excel students and students who are placed in this program, it's often said that they're smart enough, they'll figure it out on their own. But as it's been said a couple times here, we are special ed and we can't get by on our own. We can't reach our full potential on our own. And it's programs like this that allow us to learn to love learning and to really continue with school. And I think somebody else said it here as well. If anything, the program really should be expanded. There are so many students that aren't quite at the top, that don't quite make those test scores, and that we just don't have the time to reach, that could be standing here today, that could have been our valedictorians, our salutatorians, that could be going to top schools, and that they just aren't able to make it because they weren't given the resources at an early age and they didn't know all that they could do. Thank you.
Can you, anybody that's got paperwork or speech, if you can share that with me, that would be great.
What's
One
your
of-
name?
So it's s.austin
Yep.
at msad60.org.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Anyone else? Okay, with that said, I think we're ready to go into an executive session. And so we thank you very much for joining us this evening. And this is a closed session.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, so we got.
Oh, thank you.
I'll walk up with some slides. There's more to talk about.
I just, like, how we.
You know.